I've always been a little bit insecure, maybe a little paranoid. Started when I was just a child on our home farm in central Illinois. I was about 9 years old. I started to wonder about who I was and where I was from. So I went up to my dad. He's a big man. He's about 6'2". He's about 350 pounds. And as a 9-year-old, I went up to him. He was working on the big power unit on our farm, which was an A John Deere tractor. And I asked him point blank, I said, Dad, was I adopted? And he looked down at me, and he started to cry. And a tear rolled down his cheek. And he said, yes, son, you were adopted. But they brought you back. So it's that kind of scarring that's affected me to this day. I know I'm a good speaker. I was invited to speak at the American Society of Agronomy at their annual meeting in Chicago last summer, and apparently I'm going back to their winter meeting because the guy that hired me said it'll be a cold day when I hear that guy again. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, we didn't have television until I was 6 years old. We got a television, and we lived near Lafayette, Indiana, and we were halfway between Indianapolis and Champaign. And we got a television in 1962. And my uncle came and he put in an antenna for us. And he put in a 40-foot tall galvanized pole just off our front porch. But on Sundays, my mom loved to watch the Ed Sullivan Show, which was on CBS, and we had to point the antenna toward Champaign to get the CBS affiliate. And then Sunday night, she loved to watch Bonanza. That was on NBC. That came out of Indianapolis, and we had to turn the pole over to Indianapolis so we could watch Channel 6 so Mom could see what was happening at the Bonanza. My daughter came home from college last week. She's been a cheerleader at Iowa State for 4 years, and she's a little edgy because she's had nothing to cheer about for 4 years, and football or basketball. And so she's home, and she wanted to watch a show. She wanted to watch one of her shows on cable. We got satellite television. She couldn't find the remote anywhere. And she just comes unglued. She starts screaming, Dad, what'd you do with the remote? Did you take it into the bathroom? What'd you do with the remote? You lost the remote again. I can't get the remote. And I told her about when we first got a television, how I was the remote. Because when we shifted from watching CBS out of Champaign and we switched over to NBC in Indianapolis, there was a monkey wrench on the front porch. And my mother would send me out there, even in thunderstorm conditions, mind you. She would send me out there and make me change the antenna. And I grabbed this monkey wrench and I turned this galvanized pole so she could watch NBC at night, and then we turned it back so she could watch CBS. I was the remote. In fact, if you've ever done this, when you put that monkey wrench on the pole, you and your body become part of the antenna. There were many nights when I would stand out there on the porch. Mom would say, no, just hold it right there. I'd say, okay, I'm coming in. I want to see it too, Mom. No, we lost it. It's got snowy again. Spoiled, rotten kids coming home whining about the missing remote. I was the remote. There were some thunderstorms out there too, some lightning storms, but I stood out there, and I think that might have caused me some other problems. In fact, my parents always introduced my older sister. She's 21 months older than I am. They'd always introduce us. They would say, this is our daughter, Kay. She's the smart one. And there I'd stand. That's her son, Mark. He's a good eater. Got that going. My oldest child and only son was going off to college. And he had decided to attend the University of Iowa, our liberal arts school. And he had decided he was going to be a history major. And then upon graduation, he would open a history store. So we go along with all this, and we take him over there to the University of Iowa in late August, and we get him into his dorm room, and his mom makes his bed for him, and we put his stuff away and line up all his stuff in all his drawers and put his books up and pin up a corn poster, and we laughed, and my wife she just sobbed the whole way home. His first kid going off to college. It was tough, and turns out we had done the boy a terrible disservice because we had forgotten to show him where the actual campus was, where the classes were. And when he came home at Christmas, turns out he never got over there. Never found it. He found the sheriff's office twice. We were happy about that. He got around some, I guess. So that Christmas, we decided to keep him home and got him a job hanging sheetrock. And that worked as a pretty good incentive for him to go back to school and get going. I had a feed guy come in one evening, showed up, about 6'2", wiry thin, big rodeo buckle, baseball cap, painted on Wrangler jeans, cowboy shirt, Fu Manchu mustache. He comes up, bangs the door, and said, "Mr. Pearson, I'd like to talk to you about the nutritional needs for your sow herd." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Have you seen the sow herd yet?" Because it was quite a group. We selected our sows not based on their ability to produce big litters or a half an inch of back fat or a 6-inch loin eye. We selected our sows based on their ability to successfully fight off a coyote and leave behind, 2 or 3 live pigs. So our sow herd was pretty phenomenal, let me tell you. I said, "Well, listen," I said, "why don't you run up there to the timber and take a look at those sows and, let me know what you think we should be doing." So he took off and ran up into the timber, and we never saw him again. We got a dually pickup out of the deal. I had a dream the other night that me and 2 buddies had died, and we're up in heaven, and we're waiting for St. Peter to come and let us in. And it's a surreal scene because there are ducks all around us, all around the pearly gates. Ducks quacking everywhere, ducks. And St. Peter appears, and he said, "Gentlemen, we'll be dealing with you here in a moment, but while you're here waiting to get in, a word of warning, do not step on a duck." Well, his appearance so frightened one of my buddies that he broke and ran, and immediately, quack, stepped on a duck. St. Peter reappeared with this huge, hideous woman, giant woman, hideous, and handcuffed this woman to my buddy and sent them off for eternity. That so frightened my other buddy, he broke and ran the other way toward another cloud. Starts to run, quack, steps on a duck. St. Peter reappears, same thing happens. Huge, hideous female, and he handcuffs her to my buddy and sends them off for eternity. Now I have backed up against the pearly gates. I'm not moving an inch. I'm so frightened in this dream and not moving. And St. Peter reappears with a beautiful, beautiful woman. Not a showgirl. Beautiful woman. And he comes up and he handcuffs this beautiful woman to me and sends us off for eternity. We're heading off. I turn to look at her and I go, "What happened?" And she said, "I don't know. I just got here and I stepped on a duck." So